So I just played a bit of Postal, Brain Damaged, and it's pretty good so far. It's yet another throwback FPS in a crowded market, but I feel like it stands alright on its own, without the Postal name behind it, and I think it's a well put together little title. Hyper Strange has the reins on this one, so I'm not surprised it turned out pretty good, at least from what I played so far. I've played about 3 levels, and I'm on the 4th one. Each level in this game is quite different from the other, not just in terms of the theme, but also gameplay. This is a game that pushes variety first and foremost, and I gotta say, it held my attention really well. That said, there are some issues. While the game carries the Postal name, that being darker themes and humor, it's still not on the level of Postal 2. Hell, Postal 4 is not on the same level of Postal 2, and that's got the same developers behind it. The current political climate has really destroyed a lot of the creative room to make the edgy and provocative type of humor that Postal 2 was so infamous for. Even Postal 1 had the school shooting level removed from its remastered version. Now, whether you agree with that decision or not, you have to understand that Postal was a game built on that foundation, and Postal Brain Damaged should not be played if you're looking for more of that. Brain Damaged is pretty tame, all things considered. Yeah, you can piss on people and shoot civilians, but due to the art direction, it's not nearly as grotesque as you'd imagine. You're also not getting an interesting story either. I mean, the plot is literally the Postal dude goes into a drug-induced sleep coma and has dreams of trying to steal a TV while going to all kinds of crazy locations. That's it. So not very interesting to start, but the plot at least services the gameplay in that you're gonna go to a bunch of cool locations and have a lot of fun in the environments. Like I said, this game has a ton of variety and it uses it very well. All the guns have secondary fire, there's always a new type of enemy that's about to be revealed around the corner, there's plenty of secrets and Easter eggs to find as well as collectibles, all the guns feel good to shoot, and they feel wacky enough to carry the game in its own direction rather than just being another boomer shooter on the market that's alright. Like, in addition to an electric laser gun, it has a secondary fire of shooting a lightning ball that zaps everything in its path, and it's pretty satisfying to use. You also get a dildo bow and arrow, which is fun in and of itself, but every time you pull back on it, you get a very feminine moaning sound. It's pretty funny. And in pure Postal fashion, you can not only piss on things, but you could also do it to solve puzzles, and you could also drink items to shoot out, like, fiery piss at people, or freeze them with your own piss, which is cool. And yeah, the game does have a shotgun with the grapple hook, as you've probably seen the trailer, lifted straight out of Doom Eternal, but it's got a much lower cooldown, and it's in service to the game's more outdoor, open areas, like the first level, where you can pretty much change yourself to enemies and go further and further high in the air to do all kinds of crazy aerial maneuvers. It's pretty fun. Now, unfortunately, the first level is not really that great. Like, I see what the devs are going for, but the open space makes it easy to get sniped by enemies you can barely see, and it's not like they have sniper rifles with dodgeable projectiles or lasers that you can easily spot from a distance. They're just sitting with shotguns way back with a ton of range. The first level was also a little confusing for me to navigate, and in general, I didn't enjoy it that much. There's also some weird quality of life missions like weapon cycling, including guns that you have no ammo for. Basically, every shooter that lets you use more than 2 guns will cycle out a gun if you don't have ammo for it, unless you specifically select it. And that's good, because it's supposed to stop you from juggling around a bunch of guns with no ammo in the middle of the fight. For some reason, the game doesn't have that, and I don't know why. It's very frustrating. It will probably be patched in, though, I hope. The next levels, on the other hand, are much smaller, and I ended up liking the game a lot better because of that, as everything is just tighter in general. I'd say it takes until the 3rd level for the game to get enough momentum to stand on its own, as the gunning and platforming is really fun at its core, and combined with the location and enemy variety, I'd say the game can stand well enough for me to recommend it confidently. Again, I haven't finished it yet. This is a video just covering the first 2 or so hours of the game, so of course it can totally tank with time. However, I do feel that while it's being released in an overcrowded market, Postal Brain Damaged is worth recommending well enough on its own. Even without the Postal branding, it's still a good game. Alright guys, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time. I'm out.